There's nothing better than making your own really soft and fluffy dinner rolls. Let's get into this deliciousness. So first I have some all-purpose flour and I'm going to be adding some coconut powder. If you can't find coconut powder, you can use milk powder, but I usually find this at the regular supermarket or at the West Indian store. It just adds a really delicate flavor. So we're going to mix that in afterwards, but let's add some granulated sugar and some instant yeast. With the instant yeast, you don't need to proof it, you just add it straight into that mixture. Then I'll add some salt and whisk everything. I want these rolls to be nice and airy and puffy, so whisking does help with that too. Then I have some lukewarm milk. You can use coconut milk if you want to. And then I'm going to add a large egg that was beaten, some melted butter and coconut oil. Make sure that these are cooled down because you don't want to cook that egg once you pour everything in that bowl together. Then we're going to just stir the flour in a little at a time. If you have a mixer, you can use the paddle attachment, or you could even use your hands. I'm using a wooden spoon to make things easier, so just keep stirring everything in, and then you will notice that it's a really soft dough. It's not supposed to be stiff, so just keep mixing everything together. If you find that after mixing all the flour in, the dough is too sticky and hard to manage, because we do need to knead it now, right? If you find that it's too sticky, just sprinkle some flour in there, and then you'll notice that with this, the sides of the bowl, the dough is sticking to it. Like, look at the sides there, right? That means it just needs a little more flour. So I'm going to add a little more flour, and this was included in the quantity that I've specified. All right. Then what I did, guys, was I oiled my hands with olive oil, and then I just kneaded with my hands. All right. So grease your hands with the olive oil and then finish kneading that dough. You just want to knead it until it is smooth. You don't need to over knead it. All right, and then roll it into a ball. Grease a bowl with some olive oil, and then you're just gonna place that dough ball into it after we grease it. So knead this for a little bit, make it even smoother. I mean, maybe 1 to 2 minutes should be fine. It depends on how smooth it is, but once it looks nice and smooth, you don't need to worry about kneading it for a long time. Just go in, sprinkle on some olive oil, and rub that all over. This is to prevent it from drying out. Now place it into that greased bowl, and then we're going to cover this with plastic wrap, and you can put a kitchen towel over it if you want to. Leave it somewhere in the kitchen for about an hour to an hour and a half, and allow it to proof and double in size. So don't leave it anywhere cold or hot. Somewhere warm is very good. 1.5 hours. All right. Then after that, we're going to deflate it, because of course it's going to expand. So punch it down and then turn it out onto your surface and just roll it into a log. Cut this log into between 14 and 16 pieces. All right, you can use a scale if you want to be exact. And then I'm going to take these coconut flakes, guys, and put into some of these. It's just a preference. So grab a piece, open it up, and then tuck some coconut flakes in there and pinch the edges together, and then just roll it into a smooth ball. I'm just putting some coconut flakes in some of them. All right, not all. So that's what you do. You pick up a piece of dough, you fold it into itself several times, and then you can roll it in your hand or roll it on the board like this, just to make a smooth ball. And make sure you keep the other ones covered while you're working. Okay, so Once those are good to go, we are gonna put them in a baking dish. I'm using a glass dish today, and it's 9 by 13 inches. You could use a cast iron skillet, a baking dish, use whatever you have. But what you need to do is just grease it or use parchment paper and then put the dough balls inside. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave a little bit of space in between. It doesn't have to be a huge space. We want these to proof again, so we are going to cover them and leave them in the kitchen again for an hour to expand. After an hour, they're gonna look like this, nice and puffed up. Don't be worried if the balls are not the exact same size. Just try to make them as close as possible in size. And then I'm gonna brush on some milk. This is gonna help it to brown a little on top. If you want it to be shiny and brown, then you can add some egg mixed in with milk. Just brush that on. And then we're gonna put this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit at the second to last shelf in your oven. If it's too high in the oven, then it might burn or brown too fast. So the second to last shelf, and I just sprinkled some coconut on those just for fun. All right, so put that in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes, and this is what you'll get. Beautiful rolls. Look at that. I just brushed on some butter. These are so soft, guys. I can't wait for you to try them. Look at this. The thing is, because I use both the butter and the coconut oil, these are so tender. You can tell that it's not dense, it's really light, it's soft, and the flavor is just really delicate with that coconut element. It's really nice, guys. I can't wait for you to try this. You can use this for sliders if you're making sliders, or you could just have this with your dinner, whatever you want. You could even have it with breakfast, but these are delicious, guys. These are best eaten fresh. So if you're having like a special dinner, you could make these and just serve them up right away with some butter. If you do want to store them in something that can be closed tightly just to seal in that freshness. And I wouldn't go beyond 2 days. I like to finish them within that 2-day time period, but give them a try. Let me know what you think once you get to try these out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.